Hey, welcome to The Sinner and the Saint. I'm Melissa Bell.
And I'm Allison Kane.
And today we are hanging out talking about what we celebrated last week, which was Near Miss Day. And the actual Near Miss Day was like the whole Earth missed being hit by an asteroid.
Yeah, which is kind of big. Was that in the 80s? Is that what it said? Yeah, in the 80s. While we were dressed in neon with leg warmers and a lot of pastels. And I had an asymmetrical haircut to go along with that.
Yeah. So,
we were nearly missed.
Yeah, when I hear near miss, I think it's a swing and a miss.
But this ain't baseball, people. This is a whole asteroid.
So I think about, when I think of near misses, I've probably had way more near misses in my life than I even know about.
Facts.
But what one sticks out to you? Do you have one?
I have several near miss. I remember a friend and I going after, this was forever ago because I was actually teaching elementary school, way before probably y'all were born. Y'all listening. We went out to have a drink, a beverage after work, and we're not exactly sure, but someone put something in my friend's drink. Yes. And if I had not been there with her, or I had left for some reason and gone home or whatever, we have no idea what would have happened to her. It was like, and thankfully, whoever this person was, there was this nice gentleman that didn't drug our drink, who helped me carry her to the car. I mean, we had had one glass of wine and she was passing out, throwing up for the night, like incoherent. It was so scary and surreal. And I was just so thankful that it all worked. I mean, it was a near miss. I don't know what would have happened to her.
Like, did y'all go to the hospital or?
No, we weren't really sure. And, I mean, I kind of stayed, I remember her sleeping in my bathroom floor and I slept right outside the bathroom floor. And she remembered later talking to the guys next to her, and they worked for a pharmaceutical company. And so we just could not put it together. You know, like what happened to you that you were, it was just really scary. And I was just thankful for everything that fell into place. You know, that I didn't leave to go home early and put on my pajamas, that we stayed together, that someone was there that, you know, we didn't really know this person, but he was thankfully trustworthy and could help me get her to the car.
Wow.
And that she was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Total near miss. And, you know, doing silly things in college, getting tired of being out past my bedtime. Story of my life. And I would just leave and walk home.
Yeah.
By myself in the middle of the night.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine if our kids try to do that right now?
No. I mean, I just wanted to go to bed, right? I'm like, I'm over this. I'm tired. I just want to go home. And I would just leave. And I'm just so thankful that, you know, I didn't run across anybody that had bad intentions for a girl walking home.
Oh my gosh. And I listened to a ton of true crime podcasts. And that's what they're about. The girl like leaves the party, leaves the group. Yeah.
Yeah. So many near misses. And like you said before, I'm sure that the Lord is like, girl, you have no idea, you know, how many times I have saved your butt.
Oh my gosh. I think of like, I was on a beach. I was with a boyfriend who was playing music at a local jazz club. I was probably 16 or 17. And so he was playing all night at the jazz club. And so I went out to the beach because my girlfriend came along with me because it's really boring to sit at the table as the groupie. And so we decided to go down to the beach. And we're walking the beach and like she kind of connects with some guys. And I want to say it may have been 2 girlfriends. I don't really remember. She connects with some guys and they're like, hey, come on back to our hotel room. And
red flag.
She was like, yeah, I'll get in the car. And I was, no, we're not getting in a car with these people. And so my girlfriend got in the car. And so one of the guys stuck around with me because I said, I'll walk the beach to the hotel. I will not come in the hotel room. Right. And so I literally walked the beach all the way to the hotel with this guy. I wasn't really scared because it was still, there were still enough people out there.
I mean, let's be honest. You could kick his, you know what?
That too. I could have drowned
You would have taken him down.
Yeah, but like I sat outside of the hotel, like at the hotel pool waiting for her to do whatever she needed to do at that time. And I'm thinking that could have been really bad for her.
Yeah.
But there were a few guys there. Like,
wow.
I could, like, if that guy wasn't nice with
Right.
me, I don't know. Just, and, you know, girls of younger age, when your moms are saying, like, oh my gosh, that's such a bad idea. We're saying that because our hindsight is telling us,
Yeah.
what were you thinking?
That's right. And it hasn't always worked out perfectly
Yes.
for a lot of people.
Including me. I have those stories too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. I mean, we have the near misses and we have the not misses.
The punch in the gut.
The punch in the gut. And so I was thinking, as I thought about these, it makes me so grateful for the Lord that he was like, I know somebody was praying for me. I know, and not that if something bad has happened that nobody was praying for you, but you know, that there was intervention, and I was so grateful. But it also makes me just conjures up that what if.
Mm-hmm. I can go to what if to a very dangerous place.
Yeah. And that's what terrifies me with my own children and their friends, and like you said, that hindsight.
Yeah, and I do think there's a fine balance in giving your children the wisdom that you have from the things that you have experienced, and instilling fear in your children from the things that you've experienced. I tend
Healthy fear.
I don't do the healthy version. My poor kids. I mean, I've always been so upfront with them about everything. Anyways.
Well, I think that's good. We do need to be honest. And, you know, it could be something not as life and death. It could be a near miss where you almost took a job, or you almost, you know, fell into a temptation or a former addiction. And you just had a near miss with that. There's so many things to consider, you know, like, oh my gosh, if I think about when I was, right before I started my master's degree, I was working at NC State, and they had this little flyer that came out, and it was all these new little jobs. Well, Red Hat I mean, they were this little tiny startup, and I applied for this job there. And I went in and I met with like the people who started it. I don't even know. Because they were tiny, and they were like, you know what? We don't think you're right for this job, but we really like you, and we're going to call you back when we have a job for you. And I was like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's what they all say. It's not me, it's you. Or it's not you, it's me, whatever. But they did call me back. And I had already decided to go to grad school. And I had this perfect graduate assistant. And I think if I had taken that job, one, I would have a lot of money. I would be like really filthy, stinking rich.
Right.
And have a lot of stocks. Because they did grow into an amazing company. But I would have never met my husband.
Oh, that would be so sad.
And on the 22nd of this month, we celebrated 20 years of marriage.
Oh,
and
I would so glad.
That would have been holy cow, near miss. Like,
Yeah.
I would have missed out on so much more if I had taken that job. And it was really exciting, but just the way the things worked out, it was just so incredible to think back on those moments like that.
Yeah, and so times when you didn't miss. So I'll give you an example from me. I was laid off. I had just moved up here. I had 2 kids. I was a single mom, and I got laid off. And so I, as usual, controlled everything, took everything into my own power. That's all I knew how to operate at that time. The way I knew how to operate. And I took a job. And I will tell you right now, the very first day of work, I cried.
Oh.
The whole day, because here's the deal. Like, the dudes forgot that they were going to be at a conference.
What?
For the whole first week that they had hired me for. And the only reason I even had a key was because I said, hey, can I come in this Friday and just grab a key and you can show me around the office so I'm not kind of like starting from scratch on Monday? And they said, sure. So I show up to the office on Monday and no one is there.
It's just you.
Don't know how to, no. There's no one else that was working in that office. I don't know how to answer the phone. I cried. You guys, if you're crying on your first date, run away. Go to the bathroom, take a break, and never come back. It was the worst job.
Oh.
And you know who you are. And I'm sorry for calling you out, but you know who you are.
Well, you know, as we thought about this topic, I was thinking about there's so many near misses in the Bible. Oh my gosh. In Genesis, of course, everything starts in Genesis. When Abraham, you know, God calls him to sacrifice his son Abraham's son on the altar, Isaac, you know, and it's like, oh, thank goodness God provided the ram in the thicket. It's like, oh, he had them all up on the altar. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
He was going to do that thing, and then it was like, whoo! Okay, here's a ram instead.
Can we just talk about the conversation they had on the way back down the hill?
Oh my!
Like, I would never go anywhere with my dad again.
Yeah.
Last time I went on a little adventure with you, you had me over the fire getting ready to chop my head off, dude.
No more father and son trips. I'm pretty sure he had a lot of PTSD.
Will you go to Lowe's with me? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Exactly. And then Exodus 2. Think about, Moses, they had hid him, little tiny baby, for like 3 months. And finally, they just weren't, I'm sure, he got real loud and mouthy and fussy, because babies are all sweet sometimes right away.
I didn't have those, but I've heard of those babies.
Yep. And then they just, worried about him being put to death. Stick him in a little papyrus, tar-lined basket or whatever, and float him on down the river so he's not killed off with all the other, holy cow, talk about a near miss.
Yeah. And the fact that God would actually place him in an Egyptian, protect him right there in the Egyptian throne, home, whatever.
Crazy.
Yeah. That's just how God is, though.
He is.
He's like, oh, you're going to kill my people? How about you raise one?
That's worth going back to revisit and read that whole story. Sometimes we kind of skip those Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus stuff and go straight to the Gospels, but that is definitely worth like a reread this week.
And then Moses kills a dude.
Facts.
And then he has to run and hide.
Yeah. A lot of running and hiding. Hiding in caves, hiding for your life. That's like 1 Samuel 22 when David, he was always running from King Saul.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another near miss.
Yeah. You mean that
when he's
King
in the
Saul,
cave, peeing?
Yeah. He wasn't peeping.
Well, I was trying to be nice. He was using the restroom in the cave. And David was like literally right behind him and could have like done away with him. And he did cut off a little like edge of his robe. But he felt so convicted even about that.
Yeah. See, that means that he spent a lot of time with God.
Yes.
Because I would have felt conviction after I killed him.
Whoops. Did I do that? Yeah, because he could have been like, hey, the Lord has promised me this. I'm ready to get on with I'm ready to be king. I'm ready to move on with this.
I know. But,
Hit it, Saul.
He sat there and waited for God's timing.
Yep.
Man, I wish I could do that.
That's a good Bible study theme, too. Patience for God's plan. That was not planned. We obviously both need to work on that. And then, okay, what about Acts 12? Like, we're super pumped up in Acts 12 because Peter has this near miss of being executed by Herod. But then, so he's delivered from that. But in that same chapter, James is like beheaded. So sometimes there's things like that where one person experiences a near miss and the other one not so much.
And then what happens? Does Peter walk around feeling like, oh my gosh, that should have been me? I would take his place. I should have taken his place. That happens to us all the time.
It does. No.
We walk around feeling guilty that, oh, I should have taken that for them.
Right. Why them, not me? Or why me, not them? Why do bad things happen to good people? We're going to talk about that later in a few weeks. We just think we just should be protected. You think back, there's so many ways to approach near miss. We have also put people in the position with things that we have said or things that we have done, which is another whole aspect of this where, our words or actions have put them in a position where they have suffered. And we could have, let them miss that, but we didn't because we acted out of revenge or we acted, out of selfishness or control, that sort of thing.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely control. I was reading in The Power of Praying Parent. Have you ever read any of his books?
So good.
Okay, so this woman wrote The Power of Praying Parent, The Power of a Praying Wife. I've heard great things about these books. Now, probably many years ago, 6 years ago, somebody anonymously left this book on my car at work when I worked at a church.
Oh.
My life was falling apart, and someone put the book on my car, and I'm like, you wuss! who left this on my car? You couldn't come all up in here and give it to me? I mean, like...
They probably just had to pee, and they were like, I really want to give her this, but if I don't do it now, I'm going to forget, and I got to pee, or I'm going to tinkle on myself, and let me just put it here so I don't forget. She'll get it later.
I'm sure that was not it. I'm sure they were scared of the reaction, because I gave them the reaction anyways. Like, oh my gosh, whoever... Step forward. Show me who you are, right? Mm-hmm. Did I ever read the book? No. So did I pick it up recently? And I'm like, oh my gosh, whoever you are so kind. Aww. You loved me so well. And I didn't even know who you were. And I like hated on you. And you probably heard me in the office, like throwing some shade at you.
But your heart wasn't ready then.
Right.
But the Lord was already putting it on your shelf for such a week as this.
For such a time as this.
Yep.
So this is what it says. It says, remember that while God has a perfect plan for your children's lives, or for our lives, right? Mm-hmm. Satan has a plan too.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, yeah, there's that heavy reminder.
He loves to hang out. He loves to get in the middle of our frequency to the Lord and interrupt with negative thoughts and fear.
Fear is
so easy when you have had a near miss. Mm-hmm. It is so difficult not to get stuck in that fear factor. Like if you get stuck in the what if zone,
right,
then you are paralyzed and you cannot move forward and you cannot be on the lookout for God at work and be his hands and feet.
Yeah, because if God's going to call you to that, he can also defeat whatever fear that you have.
Absolutely.
But we forget that, right?
Yeah.
But I don't even operate from a near miss. I operate from a kick in the gut most of the time. Mm. Like my fears are, I don't ever want to experience what I've experienced, but I take it too far, and too much of even a good thing.
That's right.
A bad thing.
So when you say that, do you mean that you put up some extra boundaries, barriers, fences, to protect yourself so that you're not even close to the edge of something?
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm not even going to get off the porch. Like, don't play in the street. I'll sit on the porch.
Right.
But the truth is, I'm thinking about, I operate that way for my kids. Mm. So I've really tried to figure out how to let go, but I saw so much of my childhood was just not good. And so for me, my children have not seen what I know of, even 10% of what I saw as a child. And so when I come at them with these crazy things like, hey, you cannot walk through downtown Raleigh to the parking garage by yourself at night.
Right.
They think I'm crazy, right? But then guess what God does? Oh, y'all listen to this. So my daughter was downtown. She works downtown, and she had to walk to a parking garage by herself at dark. Oh. And I was like, no. So her boyfriend happened to tell me this over the phone. I was like, you need to drive down there and walk her to her car when she gets off work. He's like, that seems ridiculous. I'm like, no. Either you do it or I'm going to go do it. I hear nothing from him, so I'm assuming he went to go do it. Mm-hmm. He did not. Oh! I still love you, bud. We're working on that. But
next time, be a good listener.
But my daughter calls me on the way home because I think Anthony had texted her and told her what I was thinking. And she's like, Mom, did you hire someone to come and walk me to my car? I was like, what?
What?
And she said, a security guard, like a state capitol police officer, came into the museum and saw that they were working late at night and said, hey, where are you guys parked?
Oh my gosh.
And my daughter said, oh, I'm parked at the parking garage. And she said, oh, no, you can't walk by yourself. And escorted her to her car. Oh. And she said, you cannot walk down here by yourself. I was like, oh, Jesus just saved you.
Oh my gosh.
Because people
yeah.
Girls have been attacked. Girls have been
Absolutely.
chased. And anyways, but my kids can't even fathom that.
I know.
Because I didn't let them play outside.
I know mine always think I'm kind of crazy too. So I just see all these articles and I just forward them to them.
Yes.
From the news. Like, I don't even have to tell them stories anymore. I just send them news articles. I'm like, here you go. Here you go. I'm just proving everything I've ever said.
Right.
It's
and
really
if you
easy to do.
You want your children to reel it in a little bit? Send them to a true crime podcast.
Ooh.
My daughter's eyes have been opened. My daughter's saying, Mom, I remember you telling me as a kid, not you might get kidnapped. It's you will be kidnapped. That's what I told her. Wow. That's how she remembers it. But
wow.
Then I just listened to an Elizabeth Smart story. It happened to her in 2002 where she was taken out of her house, blonde hair, blue-eyed girl like my daughter, taken out of her home and kidnapped for 9 months.
Right.
So the timing, my daughter was born in 2000. Duh. That's why that fear was there.
Right.
Anyway.
And it's okay to be knowledgeable, but you can be knowledgeable without succumbing to the fear. It's just good to be knowledgeable and careful.
Yeah, I like that you just
informed and educated.
I like you just inform them through someone else's words, so it's no longer mom talking; it's somebody else. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So we'd love to hear about your near misses. If you want to share some on social media, we'd love to hear about those.
Yeah,
because life is a journey.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, we have a new study coming up.
Yes.
Jeremiah,
7 weeks online.
Yes, it starts April 7th.
Yep. It's going to run through May 19th. It's going to be Wednesday evenings from 8:30 to 9:45. So
I will be in my pajamas and maybe sipping a cocktail, but I will be there.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Don't think we'll be dressed up or anything. So we hope you'll check out the website and our social media and register for that and join us in your PJs for a little Jesus talk too.
Yeah, girl.
Oh, thanks for joining us this week on The Sinner and the Saint.
See you next time.